Welcome to this Tutor to You Criminology topic video for WJEC Level 3 Applied Criminology. In this video, we're looking at Assessment Criteria 2.2, Individualistic Theories of Criminality, focusing on learning theories. In this series on individualistic theories of crime, we've looked at how personality and upbringing can impact on criminality in later life. Now we're going to look at learning theories of criminality, particularly behavioural approaches that examine how individuals acquire criminal behaviour through reinforcement and the consequences of their behaviours. While some learning theories focus on observation or being immersed in a culture of criminal behaviour, behavioural theories, such as those proposed by B.F. Skinner, focus on the role of reinforcement of behaviour, both positive and negative, and how separately punishment acts as a deterrent to criminal behaviour. B.F. Skinner outlined an approach to behaviour formation called operant conditioning, which, while based on Thorndike's law of effect, that is, that behaviour that is praised is repeated, Skinner argued that behaviour may be repeated or stopped based upon whether it is reinforced or punished. Unlike Thorndike, Skinner argued that reinforcement of behaviour can be either positive or negative, with individuals having different motivations for behaviour. Conversely, punishment is used to either stop or to prevent a behaviour from being repeated. Skinner formulated his theory based upon a series of experiments with what has become known as a Skinner box. Using the Skinner box pictured on the right of the screen, Skinner performed experiments with both rats and later pigeons to see how behaviours were learned. Animals were placed in a Skinner box, which contained a lever, lights, and a food dispensing tube. The floor of the Skinner box contained a mild electric current that caused an unpleasant sensation. In one trial, if the rat or pigeon pressed the lever, they were rewarded with food. This is positive reinforcement, performing a behaviour for a reward. In another condition, a mild current was passed through the floor, which could only be switched off by pressing the lever. This is negative reinforcement, performing a behaviour to stop an unpleasant situation or sensation. Punishment would occur if an electric shock was given if the lever was pressed, the shock acting to stop the rat or pigeon from performing the act again. But how does this explain crime? Applied to human behaviour, the positive reinforcement for committing a criminal activity would be the financial gain of the crime or the status received from others. Negative reinforcement would be committing a crime to prevent a situation from getting worse or to alleviate a condition an individual was in. For example, stealing to feed a family in poverty or stealing to feed an addiction to drugs or alcohol. The impact of punishment, for example imprisonment, should in theory reduce the likelihood of crime being repeated. However, with high rates of reoffending, the effectiveness of punishments could be argued to be limited in dealing with crime. There is support for behavioural experiments conducted by Skinner in finding that positive and negative reinforcement shape the actions of animals, but this is also a limitation. Humans are more complex and have a wider range of motivations than simply food and safety. However, the cause and effect nature of Skinner's research proves his hypothesis that reinforcement can influence behaviour, and this has been applied to many psychological treatments for criminal behaviour, including the development of token economies. A flaw, however, is that while reinforcement explains why people repeat behaviours, it fails to explain why we perform this behaviour in the first place. In Skinner's experiments, the rats eat the food by chance, whereas for individuals, the causes and consequences of crime are far more complex.